Tuesday. Welcome back to Common Knowledge. We're looking at Pauper cards. We will start on this, what is this, episode 17? I think so. We'll start with Tithe Bearer Giant. It's 5 and a black for a 4/5 giant warrior, and when this creature enters, you draw a card and you lose a life. I don't know if we've done this card. We've definitely done something like this card before. And it's not very good. I mean, 4/5's a not terrible stat line. Drawing a card and losing a life isn't a bad ability, but paying 6 mana for this is not what you want to do. If you did want this effect, there are creatures that do it for 2 mana, and they're not 4/5s. But I think if you want to draw a card and lose a life and put a body out there, you'd rather do it with something more efficient like that. This doesn't really go anywhere, and we'll give it a 1.5. Let's keep it going to Soot Walkers, which is 2 and a hybrid black-red and a hybrid black-red. So 4 mana in lots of different combinations that you can put there. It's a 3/3 elemental rogue, and this creature can't be blocked by white creatures. Color hosers are kind of interesting. They do show up in Pauper from time to time. You'll find the blue elemental blast and the red elemental blast, the hydroblast, the pyroblast. Those are the main ones that you see. There are a couple of others. Like I've got, I can't remember the name of it, but I've got some hawk in my Bogles deck that has protection from red. So it's a way of getting a big flyer or a small flyer that you then put a bunch of auras on to become a big flyer, and you don't have to worry about it getting lightning bolted or something like that. Or you wouldn't worry about lightning bolts, I guess, as much as you'd worry about breath weapons or fiery cannonades or something like that. A 3/3 that can't be blocked by white creatures, but is otherwise vanilla. Unless you know that you're going up against a bunch of mono white decks, I don't think this really has a place. The best thing about it is the art. So good job, Nils Ham. I remember playing this card in my Lorwyn pre-release a long time ago because I made an Elementals deck. And it's cool, but it's, generally it just doesn't go in anything. It's got to have a very specific purpose, and that purpose is maybe too specific for Pauper, So we'll give it, I'll give it a 2, and we'll keep going. Internet's going a little bit slow. Come on, friend. I mean, I can keep talking about Sootwalkers. Well, there we go. All right. Cartographer's Companion is 3 colorless mana for an artifact creature gnome. Well, three mana of any kind. I guess it's 3 mana. 3 colorless potentially means something else. But it's an artifact creature gnome, and it's a 2/1. And when this creature enters, you get to create a map token. Yeah, probably not worth it, right? Map tokens are cool. It's a artifact, and you get to pay 1. You can sacrifice it, and you look and you explore. And exploring says you look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you put it into your hand. If it's not a land, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on the creature that explored. And it gets revealed. So you show your opponent, and if it's a land, it goes right to your hand, and if it's not, you just kind of leave it on top. Or you can put it in the graveyard. That is true. You can also put it in the graveyard. So it has some extra utility. Map tokens themselves, pretty good. You'll find a lot of them show up in Pauper because of Fanatical Offering, which is a pretty solid black instant card, and that leaves a map token when it goes on the board. There aren't a ton of things that make maps. So it is kind of cool that we've got a colorless option here that could go in any deck. But you're paying 3 mana for it, and then you're paying a 4th mana to actually use the map token. that's all just a little bit expensive, especially when it's just bolted to a 2/1. You're not going to play this pretty much anywhere. But I mean, also think of it this way: you put a 3 mana 2/1 out, and then you pay a mana, and it becomes a 3/2 potentially, or it draws you a land. Is that good enough? Still probably no, but we'll give it a 2.6, and we'll keep going. To Snare the Skies, which is a single green mana for an instant. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains a reach until the end of the turn. Little combat trick. +1/+1 is, you could play Giant Growth and get +3/+3. And is reach the best ability you're getting here? Not really, because if this said target creature gets +1/+1, gains reach, and you untap it, we'd be having a bit more of a conversation. I'm pretty sure the card I just described, we might have actually even covered before, and it still wasn't all that good. But you're holding back a creature so you can use this combat trick. I think that's leaving a little too much opportunity on the table. And if you're trying to use this offensively, the reach doesn't do anything for you. It just gives you the extra point of power and toughness. And again, for 1 mana, you'd rather just play Giant Growth for that. So, not very good. I'll give it a 1.7. Sluiceway Scorpion is 2 and Golgari mana, black and green. For a 2/2 Scorpion, it's got Death Touch, and it also has Scavenge for 1 black and a green. Do I remember what Scavenge is without looking? You take it out of your graveyard, and does it put counters on something? Exile this card from your graveyard, put a number of 1/1 counters equal to this card's power on target creature. Scavenge is a sorcery. Hey, crazy that I knew that. I did not play during Return to Ravnica, so I've only seen Scavenge on a handful of cards before. So it's a 4 mana 2/2 Death Touch, which is not very good. And if it goes into your graveyard, you can exile it from your graveyard, and you can put 2 1/1 counters on a creature. 2 1/1 counters for 3 mana isn't the worst, but it's also not the best. The creature part of it's just kind of overcosted, but you're in Golgari, so the idea is that you might mill this into your graveyard, and then you get that value out of it. Maybe you even have something that gives you a bonus when creature cards leave your graveyard, and this is a trigger for that. But yeah, it's just a little overcosted here. You'll find that sometimes a 1/1 Death Toucher is a decent card in Pauper, but a 4 mana 2/2 Death Toucher, you're mostly just going to trade with something, because by turn 4, when you actually have the mana to play this, somebody probably has something with 2 power, and then it's just a trade. You're not really getting the extra value of it having Death Touch. So little weak. We'll give it a 2. And keep going to Valor of the Worthy. It is a single white mana for an aura that enchants a creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and when enchanted creature leaves the battlefield, you create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. It's kind of interesting. Again, like another way that Wizards of the Coast is trying to solve the, hey, auras kind of suck, right? Like the auras are bad value problem. You'll find, we've talked about it in a previous episode, something like Rancor is really nice, that if it leaves the battlefield and goes to your graveyard, you get to put it back in your hand at end of turn. That's a way of kind of recycling an aura and getting more value out of it. You'll find some auras that can find their way from the graveyard back onto the battlefield or back into your hand through another means that are okay. But this one solves it by saying, hey, we'll give you a little consolation prize. If your creature gets blown up, you get a 1/1 spirit token with flying. So it's potentially even better or has more evasion than the creature you put this on. The problem though is that this still gets somebody can still respond to you casting this, to you trying to attach this, and then you lose both the creature and this, and you wouldn't even get the 1/1 spirit because it never got attached to the creature. So it doesn't quite solve the problem. Also, just giving +1/+1 is not good enough. Even in a Bogle's deck that could play this, there are just better auras that cost the same. And yeah, this doesn't really go anywhere, which is kind of sad. It's nice that you have that kind of insurance policy, but I think what you find in most Magic decks generally is we don't want a card to cover the weakness. We want a card that strengthens the strength, and that makes this card even more of a no man's land kind of thing. Where why would you think about the worst outcomes? You should be thinking about the best outcomes. That's how you win the fastest. And so this card just kind of doesn't go anywhere. So it's a. Did I give this a score? I don't think I did. It's also pretty disappointing, man. It's a 1.6. I don't know. Splitting hairs kind of doesn't matter. Glory Seeker is 1 and a white for a 2/2 human soldier, and that's it. It's from Onslaught originally. I remember that art. Is there a Rebecca? No, Youthful Knight is the one I'm thinking of. That's a Rebecca Gay art. But I like this art. This is also pretty cool. Matt Cavada. But yeah, I remember this Onslaught art much more. 2 mana for a 2/2's not very good. You can find better deals than that. And this card just doesn't really have a place. And I don't know. We'll give it a 2. It's probably not even good enough to get a 2, but it's 2 mana. It's a 2/2. I just want to give it a 2. Let's keep going to Vial of Dragonfire. I was holding this card earlier today. It is a 2 mana artifact. You can pay 2, tap, and sack it to deal 2 damage to target creature. That's not very good. That's just pretty weak all around. You're spending 4 mana to deal 2 damage to a creature. Yuck. That's bad. I'll give this a 1.3. It probably doesn't even deserve that. Next up is Rock Hunter for 1 and a red for a 3/1 human soldier. It's got reach. This is also bad. This is a bad day. A bad day for Magic cards. Let's give this a I guess it trades pretty reliably with any kind of flyer. That's not nothing, but it's pretty close. Give it a 1.4. Keep going. This should be the final card of the day. It's Tajuru Blightblade. Hey, we were talking about this with the Scorpion. It's an Elf Rogue. It's a 1/1 with Death Touch. These are okay. These are fine. There's a lot of them. Ankle Biters in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Fang of Shigeki was in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. That one at least is an enchantment creature. So, if you're dealing with enchantments, the Fang is a little bit better. Maybe it's a little bit worse in that it could be blown up by enchantment removal. So you take the risk on that one. But, I like the art of this. I like that it's an elf. That's generally a better creature type than most of these are. These are all almost playable, but they generally just don't find a place. So let's give it a respectable 4.1. And you know what? I feel like we've been going relatively quick through this and gotten a lot of bad cards. So I want to do one more. A little bonus card action. Hopefully it'll be a good one. It's Scaled Nurturer. Hey, it's not that great, but I have this in a Pauper deck. So this is something. Scaled Nurturer is 1 and a green for a 0/2 Dragon Druid. And you can tap it to add a green. And when you spend that mana to cast a dragon spell, you gain 2 life. So this is a little mana dork, but it has a decent amount of gravy on it. So I have a red and green, a Gruul Pauper deck that is very dragons focused. It uses cards like Patron of the Arts, which can put in treasure tokens when it enters the battle or leaves, enters the battlefield or leaves. So you get a little ramp out of that. This is another way to ramp relatively early. You get a dragon on the battlefield pretty early. It plays the goblin that makes dragon spells cost 1 less to cast, so this could potentially be just a single green mana. But you're trying to bring out your bigger dragons early. It's a ramp deck, and this works just fine. And the life gain's not terrible either. Like this is pretty solid. It also uses a number of the Behold cards from Tarkir Dragonstorm, and it's nice to just have another dragon in your deck that you can behold. Either have it in your hand and reveal it, or have it on the battlefield and you just point to it. But this is not bad. You don't see a lot of cheap dragons because they're dragons. They should be big. They should be big and cool. And I think it's kind of nice that there is a cheap dragon or two that you can play in more of a typal deck. And I like this guy. He's not the best creature in the deck. He probably could be cut for something else, but I still like him, and I'll give him a halfway decent score. We'll give it a 4.6. I think it's just under playability in most decks. I've got a very specific deck for it, so maybe you could bump this up to a 5, but yeah, I don't think you would. It just doesn't really go in a whole lot of decks, but it goes in one, and it's one I've got. So cool to see a card that I play, because we got 10,226, and most of them are cards that I have never seen before or would never play. So it's nice to see a familiar face. Anyway, that's enough common knowledge for one day. We will see you tomorrow.